I'm giving you $10,000 to play with in the 1990s Michael Jordan insert and parallel market today. But you can't spend it any way you want. I'm only going to give you two options. You can choose between an army of PSA 9s or a PSA 10 general. But those are your only choices. I want to know what you do in today's episode of This or That. PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code CAJUN, all caps, C-A-J-U-N, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. And today's episode is nothing novel. This is not my creation. We're going to do a little simple this or that. As you can see from the thumbnail, would you rather this one card or this multiple of similar types of cards of the same player? And you're not going to believe this, but we chose Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the player of the day. We're going to talk about a particular Michael Jordan card. And look, I want to be real clear. This is not to bang on this particular Michael Jordan card or on grades in general. This is not intended to show you guys how to collect. If anything, I'm sort of doing this to expose myself as a illogical grade snob. But it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about a couple of Michael Jordan cards. We're going to put the ball in the court of the viewers and let you guys decide which one you would rather have with your $10,000. I am giving you $10,000 of American currency to make a decision on this day. And I've done the data in the card ladder sales history, and so these prices should be extremely accurate and very accurate current value. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get going. Here's what we got. All right. So, do you want an army or do you want a general, right? We're going to talk a little bit about what would make us make a decision when we're choosing between the two options you see on the screen. I've got your PSA general on the right, and it does say general. It's behind my fat face. Sorry about that in the formatting issue, but you're looking at the 1997 Hoops high voltage PSA 10 card number 14. There is a high voltage 500 volts parallel, serial number to 500, although there is conjecture that maybe not the full 500 were even printed. But the card we're talking about is the high voltage base insert that you see on your screen. This card recently sold on February 4th, right out a month ago, for $9,601. And I should be very transparent. I own all the cards on the screen in one grade or another. So I have, how they like to say in Louisiana, I have no dog in this hunt. Well, I have all the dogs in this hunt. Therefore, I'm not biased one way or the other. I do collect a particular way, which you may know very well if you do watch the channel regularly. But I thought it would be interesting to take $10,000, find a recent Jordan card that sold for $10,000. So I wasn't picking on this high voltage particularly, but this is one that came up right underneath $10,000 recently, and then compare it to what you could have bought. How far would your dollar go if you said, you know what, Cajun, you, Josh Dawson, VTV, all you guys can go chase those 10s. I'm going to spend my money on mint condition cards, PSA 9s specifically, and amass an army for my $10,000. And so that's what you see over there on the left. You've got your army on the left, you got your general on the right, and we'll pose this question about which one you guys would want. On the left, we've got some inserts that if you collect Jordan cards or if you collect 90s cards, just in any player in the 90s, whether it's Reggie Miller or Ewing or Brad Daugherty or whoever the hell you want to collect in the 90s, you should recognize all 8 of these inserts. I did not go obscure, and I say inserts. One of them is actually a parallel. So we've got the 98 die cut Planet Metal PSA 9. That's about a $1,500 card. We got the 97 Hoops high voltage PSA 9, $1,543. Does that look familiar? So to keep it in perspective, we're basically asking you to drop a grade from a 10 high voltage to a 9 high voltage. This is not an accident. And then, by the way, you get the other 7 cards by dropping a grade. There are people out there that may own this high voltage in a PSA 10, and they could literally drop a grade and add the 7 PSA 9s that you see on your screen. We've got the 1998 Fleer Electrifying PSA 9. That's about a $1,500 card. We've got the 1996 Ultra, the only parallel that you're going to see in today's video. But this is the lowest pop of any of the damn cards on here. The fewest number have been graded of this card than any card that you see on your screen. The 1996 Ultra Gold Medallion. PSA 9, that's the G16, and that's a beautiful card, by the way, and really condition sensitive. There's not very many PSA 10s of those. There's not very many PSA 9s of those out there either. We've got your 1995 Stadium Club Beam Team, my personal favorite Beam Team in PSA 9. You got the 95 Skybox EXL Natural Born Thrillers. Those 2 cards are right at $1,000. Then you got your Hot Numbers, which is now dipped under $1,000 for a PSA 9. That's a $905 card. And then your 1998 Skybox Premium Soul of the Game PSA 9 for $817. You know, your Beam Teams, your Electrifying, your Hot Numbers, your Soul of the Game, those are sort of foundational inserts that a lot of people who, when they first enter the Jordan market, those are the ones that catch their eye. They're not the lowest pop cards out there, but they do have meaning and they do have high demand. So that's the dilemma here. If you add up those numbers, it should be almost on the number to 9,600, maybe a shade over, but essentially let's just call it a $10,000 wash. So you got 10 grand on the right, 10 grand on the left, and the question is, which one would you guys choose? And I want you guys to let me know in the comments which one you would choose, which option you would choose, and why. And so we're going to scroll down. Here are some of the questions you're probably asking. Of course, the question is this or that, right? What would you do? Which one would you choose? And it hinges on what type of collector you are. Are you somebody who likes to only collect the best of the best, and you like to move at a slower pace because that's not as easy to do, it's more expensive to do, the cards are harder to find, the higher the grade is? Or are you the type of collector that likes to accumulate? Are you I don't want to say hoarder, because when we think hoarder in the hobby, we think about people who, maybe buy 8 copies of a particular card, and there's nothing wrong with that too. Everybody's entitled to do whatever the hell they want. But are you the type of collector that would rather have, 2,400 cards, for example, in their PWCC Vault? Or are you the person who likes to keep your collection to 100 cards and every single card is super high quality? So why are you collecting? That's another thing. Are you an investor? Are you a collector? Are you buying the cards hoping to sell them in a year? Are you making the choice today based on what they'll be worth in a year? Are you making the choice based on what they'll be worth in the year 2047? Maybe you're a young cat, right? A young blood, and you want to make this decision and hold it for 25 years. Which do you think is going to have more value in 25 years? The 8 cards on the left or the 1 high voltage on the right in a PSA 10 slab? How confident are you in grades? This is huge, right? This is probably the prime distinguishing factor regarding what most of the people are going to choose and what most of the comments are going to allude to. I'm going to go out on a limb and just assume that a vast multitude of the comments are going to be grading is bullshit, or grading is arbitrary, or I can't tell the difference between a 9 or a 10. We've heard all of this stuff before, and I can't say I disagree with all of it, or really any of it, because there is a lot of truth to that, and I know that after a massive sample size of grading with BGS and PSA over the years now. How confident are you in the grades? I want to know in the comments below. How confident are you that the PSA 10 that I showed you on the screen is actually in a better condition than the PSA 9 on the left? Do you think it's a 100% chance? There's no question it is. Do you think it's 50-50 where 9s and 10s, they're just throwing, like a monkey throwing darts at a Wall Street Journal picking stocks? Or do you think it's, 80% of the time, usually PSA or BGS or whoever gets it right? So how confident are you in the grades and the grading system? What is your exit strategy? That matters. It's easier to sell 1 card than 8 cards, generally speaking. But nowadays, honest to God, if you're not trying to squeeze all the juice out of the berry with PWCC, with Golden, with Probstein DC, with, all these different consigners and all these different ways to sell cards, the difference between selling 1 card and 8 card is negligible, right? I could send 1 card into the PWCC Weekly or Premier. I could send 8 cards into the PWCC Weekly or Premier. It doesn't matter to me. It's going to take an extra 12 seconds. If you are trying to squeeze every drop out of this and you don't want to auction your cards, then it's probably going to be easier to sell 1 card than it is going to be to sell 8 cards, because you have you have to list 8 cards on eBay and or go through the trouble of creating a story sale on Instagram or Facebook, or maybe you're going to a card show and you're trying to move 8 cards. It's probably going to be a little harder to move 8 than 1. This is not like 1,200 cards versus 5 cards, right? That would be a much different analysis, and that's where your particular exit strategy and the ease of liquidation comes into play. And again, this is from an investor perspective. This is not I'm taking these bitches to the grave. That may be you, which would be under that why are you collecting? You may be wanting to take these little bastards to the grave with you. And if that's the case, then you can ignore the exit strategy part. But if you are looking to buy low, sell high at some point, whether it's a year, 3 weeks, a year, 10 years, 20 years, then you do need to consider your exit strategy. That's a strategy that's a hard lesson that I learned with Anthony Simons. I had about 4,000 Anthony Simons cards, and I did great. Okay, I timed it pretty damn well. He turned out to be pretty damn good, and I bought him for pretty damn nothing. The problem was, it was not easy to sell thousands of Anthony Simons cards. I would have probably been better served to have just bought 25 of his National Treasures True RPAs, which I could have probably done when he first came out. I probably could have done that with the same amount of money invested. It was real fun buying raw, grading, and flipping. But your exit strategy is always something to consider. Although in this case, not that big a deal. The difference between 8 and 1 is just not that much time, not that much energy, and not that much in shipping costs, to be honest with you. Diversification concerns, same player, right? So, diversification comes into play if it was, Jordan on the right, and then on the left, we had Jordan, we had Kobe, we had LeBron, we had, Doncic, we had some Anthony Edwards, we had an SGA, we had a Trae Young, we had an Alperen Şengün, for God's sakes. If you had 8 different players on the left, then diversification would be in your corner, and maybe that would factor into this. But on this one, we have, the other thing, it could be a Jordan Exquisite on the right and then all Jordan 90s on the left, or maybe a mixture of 90s and Wizards and, and autographs. It could have been something like that. But this is pretty much inserts versus inserts in one parallel. So the diversification is in number only. There are 8 price points over here, and they're going to be 8 charts that can go up or down over the next 1, 5, 10, 12, 20 years. And then over on the right, there's only 1 chart. And you're going to, not have as many data points to work with. And then lastly is pop reports and pack odds. That matters, and you should probably look at that stuff. I will say this, that the gold medallion card, believe it or not, is more rare, significantly more rare, significantly fewer graded than the high voltage card that we looked at on the right. And so pop reports are always important. Pack odds are always important. But it's an army versus a general. Again, let's go back to our screen. There's our screen. Those are your options. It is visually mesmerizing to look at, much like the Cajun Cardboard Hierarchy Project. It's so beautiful to look at Jordan cards and make decisions like this and talk through this kind of stuff and think through it. And I'm just curious what you guys think, and I thought this would be a fun little exercise. And maybe if the feedback's overwhelmingly positive, we can do this again in the future, and maybe we can take $25,000, or maybe we can really make it tough and take $1,000, which is kind of more common, the decisions we're making. Usually we don't have 10 grand sitting around to make a decision, but each of us collects in a different way. And and again, I am not going to be completely objective here. I try my best, but like you guys know, I try to collect if I can in PSA 10 or BGS 9.5, and and I'm looking at the screen and asking myself why. So I don't know. I don't know which of these options will fare better over the long run. I have sort of chosen the option on the right, and then also tried to collect all of the cards on the left in PSA 10 as well. In fact, I think I have all of those in PSA 10, except the gold medallion. And I think I have the high voltage in 9.5, but it is a slower process. It's a more deliberate process, and you've got to be more patient, and you've got to spend more money to do it in PSA 10. But I think this is an interesting, same player, same types of cards. It's just one high grade versus a mini, still relatively high grade in PSA 9 mint condition. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this or that video. If you do like this and you want me to do some more of these, let me know. We'll do them. They're only about 15 minutes, and I think the comments will be entertaining. And don't just tell me which one you'll choose. Tell me if you want the general or the army, but then tell me why, because that's what all of us are going to want to read the comments, right? I'm just throwing it on a platter and letting you guys eat, and you guys are going to do the dirty work and the grunt work, and let us know in the comments which decision would be the best, and maybe we will revisit this video in 5 years and see which option is worth more than the $10,000 that it would have cost you, or about $9,600 that it would have cost you in today's hard-earned 2024 March money. Thank you guys as always for watching. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.